start out. Staying in tune. I'm happy. Hey, you all stay tuned because I take a Behringer that was in horrible shape, horribly high action, unplayable, wouldn't stay in tune, dried out, and turned it into something that plays pretty darn well. So check it out. Stay tuned.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Old Guy Jammin' here. Hit that subscribe button and thumbs up if you like. I just monetized. We'll see how that goes. I really don't want to have a monetized channel, but I would like to have a check from YouTube just to scratch it off the bucket list. So we'll give it a shot. All right. So today we've got a Behringer Strat style guitar from a buddy of mine who said, "Hey, do you think you could make this feel better? I would like to leave it around the school in the locker room, a knock around guitar that I don't have to worry about getting beat up or dropped or ripped off, stolen or something. But I just don't like the way it feels enough to like playing it." And I totally understand that. A guitar, first and foremost, if a guitar won't stay in tune, just either get it fixed or chuck it. It's not worth your time. Nothing worse than trying to chasing down tuning issues all the time. But we're going to give this a shot. Strat style bridge, setting this up is key. Otherwise, we're going to drop some oil in the tuning pegs. And we do that with some lily white right here. And we just add drops here to the tuning pegs. I do this before removing strings. And then I do that before tuning it back up. So you get a drop as I unwind the string, another drop later, and that soaks down through this ring and into the around the gears. And then if you have tuning keys that are loose or too tight, it's really as easy as loosening or tightening the screw that's right here on top of each of these tuning pegs. Tighten that up and the tuner becomes very tight. Loosen it and it becomes very loose. So just adjusting that top screw right there will do a lot to make a loose or tight tuner feel that much better. All right, drop of oil every time I change strings. We're also going to, that's good for the tuners. We're going to also run we're going to check all our frets for level. There were a couple of areas where it was fretting out or buzzing. And for this, a lot of people recommend you use those big old rulers, but I don't see the point in that. I don't like it because even when you take your strings off your neck, it's going to relax and there's going to be a different bow or a different degree of flatness when it's strung up and when it's not strung. And if you have any kind of relief in your neck, putting a big long straight edge across it is going to leave the whole middle without touching the neck. So I don't like to do that. I prefer instead to take this string gauge little deal here and just walk it down the frets and see if it will teeter-totter or seesaw between 3. So I cover 3 frets at a time and I come down, keep working it down. A little bit there, but not enough to worry about. Nothing yet. We're still good. We're still good. Little rock there. You can see it maybe moving, but not enough to worry about. I'm not concerned yet. At some point, we need to go this direction. And we got a little rock there. So I'll take my dry erase and mark that fret. We keep going. No rock there, no rock there. I've done this already. Little bit of a rock here, but gosh, hardly anything to worry about. But we want to do a good job, so we mark that guy. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Nothing, nothing, nothing. A little bit of rock here, but just a little tiny bit. But let's mark that one. Again, on the top, we're marking with dry erase. Now, we get down to here, and this is the 3rd fret from the bass, so it's probably like 20, 19, or 20. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Fret number 20, and it's got significant rock. All right, can you see that? That's really high. That will kill a string pretty quick. However, in this case, I don't know if you can see, but on the back side of this fret, we'll see how good the resolution on my camera is. It's right, this one right there. You can see that it's not down touching the neck all the way. So before I start filing on stuff, I like to take a little hammer and see if I can't just reset the fret. Put a pencil over it to keep it safe. And instead of little taps, you want to just give an authoritative one or two across the crown, maybe one on the edge. And then, for giggles, let's try this again, because that one looked like it was up. It still looks like it's up a little bit. Still pretty high. It's leaving a pretty good dent in my pencil. So I'm going to give it one more good whack. I feel like doing it with the hammer. But the hammer is steel and the fret is brass or even something softer, I don't know. And I would hate to do damage here. All right, and that's still rocking pretty good. Now, every once in a while, you can get these to sit back down. So I'm going to, before I get started, give each one of these a good bump. You want to make sure the neck is supported. All right, under your leg is fine. Or if you have something to work on, like I do out in the garage, that's even better. But because I don't have a camera out there, we'll do it with my leg right here. Now that one went down enough. I'm not going to worry about that one. Plus, it's further back here where the string is not as susceptible to the relationship of bridge height to where you're playing. So that one is okay. That one went down. I will not worry about that one. That's great. We had one here. That one's still high. I'll work on that a little bit. And then this 19th is really high. So that's got to come down a lot. Now to do this, I will just use, you can do a couple different things. I prefer to use a flat file because the file itself is flat. It rocks too on the high fret. So I will just work this back and forth lightly on that high fret. And I may even tape these off just so I do a nice job and I'm not unequal. If it was my guitar, I would trust my feel to being focused on the fret that's high, the offending fret. But because this belongs to somebody else, even though it's a cheaper guitar, I will protect it with some tape. You can also work it this way, just hitting that individual fret. You can use a flat stone. And then also, as part of what we do, so I'll get those frets leveled out. And then I need a little more relief in the neck. I already checked that between the F, between the 1st and the 17th fret, and then you use the string to see what kind of relief you have. We'll come back once it's restrung. Got that planned. I'll take my sanding block down the edge of each side of the neck to make that more comfortable. It's not too bad. It's better than a lot of other guitars I've played, but we'll soften that up. I'll hit it with 2 grades of sandpaper, first a coarse and then a nice fine, just to clean that up. We have also need to open up the slots on the nut. I noticed when I was tuning, the strings were popping a lot. Ting, ping, ping. Anytime you hear that during tuning or winding up the strings, it means they're being caught in the nut. So we'll run some sandpaper or some files through those slots to open them up. It's okay if it's a little wider than the string. You want the string to be able to move freely through that slot. So we'll do some sanding there to open those up. It had 10s on it. I'm going to put 9.5s on it. I don't like 9s. I think they're a little too sloppy of a string for me. But I do like 9.5s on Telecasters and Strats because That equates to a little more quack. Believe it or not, a lighter string will give you more of that spank as you pluck it. More, you'll get more spank than you will with a 10. Now, on the bridge side down here, this is how it was set up. We have, I don't know if you can see these bridge height adjustment screws, but they are really, see how they're sticking up there? Really high. And it's just like having your hand on a pin cushion. Don't like it. I went to the hardware store, tried to find some smaller ones, but these are metric. My hardware store had some, but the pit or the thread fineness didn't match up. I couldn't get a fine enough set screw. All they had were coarser ones. Anyway, if it was a more expensive guitar or mine, I might mail order some of these from StewMac, because it's really uncomfortable to have your hand sitting on those. I don't like it. I like it to be smooth. And it's better for palm muting too. How in the world are you going to get your palm down into that, close to that string, if the height adjustment screws are so high? You won't be able to palm mute properly. So need to fix that. So to fix that, what I'm going to do is take the neck off and put a shim of credit card underneath it, and then put the neck back on. That should give me the ability to drop some of these quite a bit further. All right, so I think I've covered everything I'm going to do. It's pretty basic setup. Anybody can do this at home. You just have to be a little meticulous and don't do something foolish. Think about what you're doing before you do it. Check anytime you're filing a nut or doing fret leveling. Just be patient. A few swipes, check. A few swipes, check. A few swipes, check. It's all good. All right. So I'll come back when we get ready to string this dude up, probably, and go back over what we did. See how it works. See you soon. I've got 2 frets here, both high. So I can start, and just as I file, I'm going to follow the crown of the fret so that I'm getting the entire fret. And then double check, still high there. This one's coming down, but I don't, because I've got 2 side to side, need to work on them both kind of individually. This one's high as well, so I'm just nice and easy, 3 or 4 strokes. Start at one side, and as I finish, I follow the curvature, the radius of the neck. These Mars in the neck were already here. Also, a good point to make is that anytime you start working on someone else's guitar, make note of any damage before you start. Like, we've got a pretty good ding right there, but that was there already. So just make note of that so everybody knows what's going on, and you aren't accused of hurting somebody's guitar or damaging it. Now, somebody might wonder if we need to recrown these when we're done, and the answer is no. I'm not taking that much off to warrant recrowning. Ooh, that's getting good. If we were to, if we had, and I don't have a crowning file either, but I wouldn't worry about recrowning. Now, if this one gets too low, I'm going to start developing a rock between these 3, and you don't want that. So as soon as you start having a rock go the other way, you certainly need to stop, but I'm still okay. That one's great. And this one still, that one's still pretty high. They're both still pretty high. So I'll keep sanding these just like this with a file, and just a nice sliding light pressure stroke over the top of that fret. This one and that one. You're taking off so little material that if you just do 3 or 4 strokes at a time, you're going to be fine. All right, we're back with that gizmo. So I put a credit card shim under there, and if you can tell, I don't know how well you can see, but that's going to ride right up to the top of these screws. It's kind of just raising the top of them, which is just about where I want it if I'm going to bury those all the way into the saddle. So I think that adjustment's going to be fine. I'm also, even though this is maple and not real absorbent, I'm going to put some F1 oil on the fretboard. It's not dirty at all, but we'll give that a light coat of oil. You just put a dot in between each fret and then rub it on, and I'll let that sit on the oil. I won't wipe it off real quick. That's a mistake a lot of people make, is they put the oil on and then they wipe it dry real quick. Just get it on there nice and proportionally, and then let it sit while you're doing something else. And the something else I'm going to do is adjust this whammy bar. So let me show you how this works. You first want to have these screws loose enough, back them out until the whammy bar is hitting on the body so that it's blocking out against something hard back here in the body. That's what you want. Then you start with this outer one and you begin to tighten it until it pushes the whammy bar down just a little bit, just like that. And then I'm going to go to this other side, start to tighten this till it pushes the whammy bar down. And see, and now that wants to push the bar down. So you want to just have it to where it's just starting to push the whammy bar down. And then you have these in the same spot. They're both just putting a little pressure on the bar so that it's not hitting the wood of the body. It's now hitting these screws. That's what's controlling its play or its action. And then we go through and we do these the same way. Every time you get a little deflection of the bar, back it back out just a little bit. Tighten it until you get a deflection of the bar. Back it out just a little bit. Okay, same kind of thing. So we'll do that. I'll put this other saddle back on that I took with me to the thrift store, or the hardware store. Get that set up. We'll oil this. My frets are leveled. I took a quarter turn out of the truss rod in here to bring the neck up, give us a little more relief. Oil the tuners back here. I'll put another drop in there, and then we'll polish it up real good, wipe the oil off, restring it, and set the action up. I'll run some sandpaper through the nut to make sure that those strings are moving back and forth in there easily. I also sanded the neck while it was off to make it super nice and smooth. And we'll see what kind